So Britt, how are you? Fine, I guess. Another day. Been doing anything fun? Saw a couple of friends in real life. Had some Zoom and FaceTime catch-ups as well. Been binging a lot of TV lately. So many seasons of The Bachelor. And you're enjoying that? Not really. Well, what is bringing you joy these days? I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm sad, but I'm languishing. The term was coined by sociologist Corey Keyes. It essentially means you're not depressed, but you're also not thriving. It exists somewhere in between, and mental health professionals are seeing more and more patients who are identifying with it. We're more than 18 months into the pandemic, and sure, parts of society are opening back up. If you've been working from home, you may even be starting to head back to an office. But the world is not quite back to normal, and normalcy is unlikely to look like it did pre-COVID, or as we're already calling it, the before times.
The before times, or the time before, the incident, the troubles.
Organizational psychologist Adam Grant recently brought the term back into the public consciousness in an article that he wrote for the New York Times. He calls it the neglected middle child of mental health, and that it can dull your focus and your motivation. He began digging more into the issue after noticing changes within himself in the early months of lockdown.
I was staying up way past midnight, doom scrolling, playing endless games of online Scrabble, and binging entire seasons of TV shows that weren't even good. I wasn't depressed. I still had hope. Wasn't burned out. Had energy. Wasn't lonely. I was with my family. I just felt a little bit aimless and a little bit joyless.
I spoke with Shemaya Derrick, a licensed professional counselor based in Chicago. She says that languishing is also about a lack of intentionality. You may be spending time with your friends or your spouse, you're taking care of your children, but these activities are surface level at best. This may not sound like it's a big deal, but this in-between state has particular risk factors.
We're kind of at this cusp that I'm starting to see now. I do think it can be the gateway to mental illness. While the languishing may be at bay because it has existed and it may have eroded some coping skills, it makes the way for anxiety. It makes the way for depression when people are reflecting on the past year and what has happened, what hasn't happened. It's not too far away from PTSD.
Just about all of us have experienced some degree of trauma in the last year. Part of the reason we may be having these dull or muted emotions that make up what it is to be languishing is because we simply don't know when this period of our lives is going to end.
Anticipatory anxiety. I don't know what to expect, or the last time I didn't know what to expect, this thing happened and my world got blown up. And the way the pandemic has gone, numbers go up, numbers go down. And we think we're getting better. Okay, now we're not. Okay, now we need boosters. Is quarantine gonna go back? Are we gonna go back in the house? Like those types of feelings. And so I think it has then kind of just kept it in this purgatory, this really awful purgatory of not really knowing.
This state of indifference is self-preservation, but what can we do to move forward, even when we're surrounded by uncertainty? Shemaya says that it's important to have check-ins with yourself so that you can be aware of your own emotional changes. Prioritize self-care, whatever that means for you. Find the things that matter to you, that give your life meaning, and take time for them. Adam Grant has a similar view. He says that combating languishing is dependent on finding flow in an activity that you enjoy that you can become completely immersed in. And that peak flow is comprised of 3 principles: mastery, mindfulness, and mattering. Find something that you love to do and carve out uninterrupted time to get really good at it. And it's better if you're able to share that activity with the people that you care about. Grant found his flow while playing Mario Kart with his family. He says that the activity doesn't have to be productive. It just has to be joyful. And Shemaya says if that's not working and you can't quite get to the bottom of what you're feeling yourself, seek out a counselor or a therapist to help you work it out. There's a shared sense of trauma across the globe today. Whether we admit it or not, it unites all of us. And there's no shame in any of us seeking out the help that we might need.